We find ourselves at the bank of the Nile River, and the Egyptians are bearing down. And we're told that the children of Israel panic. Vayiru ma'od, they were very frightened, understandably so. Vayitz'aku b'nei Yisrael el Hashem, and the children of Israel cry out to God, and they say, aren't there enough graves in Egypt? Why'd you take us out here to die in the wilderness? What have you done to us to bring us out of Egypt? This is what we told you in Egypt, to let us leave us alone, and we'll continue to be slaves to Egypt. It's better, ki tov lanu avodat Mitzrayim mimutenu b'midbar, better for us to continue to be slaves to Egypt than to die in the wilderness. And Moshe responds, telling them not to fear; they should stay put, and bear witness and see the great salvation of God. Just like you've seen Egypt now, you'll never see them again. God will fight for you. Adonai yilachem lachem ve'atem tacharishun. God will fight for you, and you folks just be quiet. Cease the screaming. Next pasuk. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, ma titzak elai, daber b'nei Yisrael v'yisa'u. God says to Moshe, why are you crying out to me? Tell the children of Israel that they should just journey into the water that will split, etc., etc. So commentaries, are struggle around this statement when God says to Moshe, "Ma titzak elai," why are you crying out to me? We don't have any record of that. The Bnei Israel cry out, and Moshe silences them, right? So what does it mean to say that "Ma titzak elai"? So some of Farshim, Ibn Ezra being one of them, says that God is speaking to Moshe, but really speaking to the children of Israel. This is, really a statement to them. Ki Moshe keneged kol Yisrael shayutzo akim lo. God's reference point really is to Israel. They were the ones who were crying. Nonetheless, Rashi and others don't read it that way, and says lamadnu shehaya Moshe omed mitpalel. We learn from here that Moshe was standing there and davening and chuckling, and God says, Lo ate ata laharich b'tfilah Yisrael notunu b'tzara. Not the time to have lengthy davenings when Israel is right there in the midst of its suffering. Rashi continues, Davar acher matitzak elai alai davar taloi below alecha. I got this. It's on me, not on you. Okay. The Ramban here takes it one step further, and I think this is the essence of it. The sages say that indeed Moshe was the one who was crying out and davening. And this is the truth. That's the right pshat, because Moshe didn't know what to do. Even though God had said to him that I will play this whole game here and change Pharaoh's heart. He didn't know what he was exactly supposed to do. He's in the end, he's at the banks of the river, and the enemy is indeed catching up. And so his tefillah was to Hashem, tell me what I'm supposed to do. Tell me what I'm supposed to do. So this is a little strange. Exactly, that sounds like what he did do, but it sounds like God says to him, you shouldn't be screaming. You shouldn't be in a panic. You should just frame it correctly, directly. God, what's the next step? Instead of sort of pulling your hair out, which in this reading, Moshe was very, very anxious, calmly find out the steps you're supposed to take to save the Jewish people. I was thinking about this Ramban as I was I had seen a part of a series that appears on Israeli television on Channel 12 in Israel. It's called Giborim. It's a later night, like a 9:30 at night show about Giborim, which means heroes. Real heroes, and looks at different people, primarily on October 7th, who acted heroically. Yesterday, the piece was about a young woman who was on the army base that was overrun, and with all those, and as Rav Yonatan actually had mentioned his own nephew, I don't know if it's the same base or not, mostly new recruits who were there who couldn't really fight, and how this woman she just valiantly stepped up, stepped out, and fought, and took a bullet to the head, and miraculously is fully functioning now, telling her story, saved the life of another woman who was there, and got her to a safe space. She and her father was apparently on the base also, fought almost side by side and helped get the wounded out, etc., etc. And they keep on asking, like, how'd you do it? And she just said, like, you just do. You do. You do. And that is like, what a matching to this teaching here. Not necessarily a critique of Moshe. You have to know what to do, because it's not clear what you're supposed to do. But if you're in a tizzy and if you're in a panic, and then people can be that way, and then tragedy is doubled and tripled when that's the case. But if a person can hold their head in a clear space in such a difficult moment, and certain people are able to, and say, okay, this is what has to happen now, and then you go and you help do it, that is real gevurah. That is real heroism. The capacity of a human being is never to be underestimated. And in this situation, we thank God that she was able to indeed help save many, many lives along the way, as did Moshe, once God's instructions were clear as what he needed to do as well. May we all merit the Yeshua, the salvation that is needed at this time. Wishing you all Shabbat Shalom.